Hi everyone, welcome to another class in physiology and a very important chapter, that is neural control and coordination. And it is the nervous system which distinguishes us from the plants which do not have a typical type of nerve cells or any nervous system by which they can sense their surrounding. Although even they can sense, but the animals have better sensory abilities because of this nervous system. So let's begin with the neural system and the control and coordination along with it. So first of all, there are two systems in our body for control and coordination, and those are nervous and the endocrine systems, which cooperate and interact to maintain homeostasis and control behavior. So first of all, homeostasis. This is maintenance of a steady internal environment irrespective of the external change. Like in our case, we are warm-blooded organisms and we are sitting in a AC room, and from there we leave out into the sun, but still our body temperature remains constant. That is 98.4 degree Fahrenheit. So how is that made possible? That is what homeostasis is. And it is a fundamental property of living organisms and a sign of good health. So as long as we are able to maintain homeostasis, we are in good health. And this is what you can see in any medical report. You will find that whatever body variable has been checked, like blood glucose level or maybe amount of urea in the blood, you will find there is a normal range and there is another value given which would be coming after testing. So if the value is within the normal range, that means homeostasis is maintained and there is no disorder with the body. Now, homeostasis is established by coordination, a process through which two or more organs interact and complement the functions of one another. And in this case, the nervous and endocrine systems, they are structurally and functionally linked, but at the same time they have different ways of acting and bringing about the effect in the body. So first of all, let us take some of the important differences between nervous and endocrine systems. So here, on the basis of a complexity, nervous system is structurally more complex and it can integrate vast amounts of information and stimulate a wide range of responses. So there are so many bodily changes, external stimuli that we are receiving, all that is integrated by the nervous system. Endocrine system comparatively is less complex. Then another point of difference is regarding their structure. Now, nervous system has a system of neurons. They are branched and they are spread throughout the body. Endocrine system comprises endocrine glands. These are ductless glands which secrete hormones. And these hormones are chemical messengers which are released into the bloodstream, and from the bloodstream these are carried to the target organ. Of course, they are carried all over the body, but the response will only be in the target organ because that target has the proper receptors for that hormone. Then another point of difference is communication. How do the neurons communicate? So neurons conduct electrical signals, which is of course called the nerve impulse, directly to and from specific targets. That could be our sensory organ, like when light falls on the retina, that information is taken to the brain and that would be through these neurons. And then it allows fine pinpoint control. The endocrine system works through hormones, the chemical messengers, which circulate throughout the body via the bloodstream and act on the target cells. Another important point of difference, that is response time. Now, for nervous system, the response time is very quick, and because these nerve impulses can move at a speed of 100 meters per second. That is the reason you see as soon as you hit your toe to an inert object, immediately you feel the pain and remove it. So such quick transmission is there. As far as hormones are concerned, their effect can take minutes, hours, or days. So that means it can have a response time which is very small time, or it could be a very elongated time. And these are produced, carried by the blood to the target organ, and then the response also can continue for a long time. So from here, taking up some of the important differences, now finally we can move on to the neural system. So the nervous system or the neural system has three overlapping functions. That is, there has to be a sensory input, then it has to be integrated, and finally there is going to be an output. So just like the CPU of the computer, that is the region where integration will occur. So when you are trying to search a file, you put in the input, the name of the file, that would be searched by the integrating unit, that is the CPU, and finally on the screen you will get the output. So here the sensory input is conduction of signals from sensory receptors to the integration centers. And integration centers, as we said, that is the brain and the spinal cord. And then there is going to be integration, a process by which that information from the sensory receptors is interpreted and associated with appropriate response. And finally, there is going to be an output. So that is a motor output which involves conduction of signals from the processing center, that is the integration center, to the effector cells. And in the body, the effectors are either the muscle cells or the gland cells that actually carry out the body's response to stimuli. Like when there is excessive heat in the surrounding, we start sweating. So the sweat glands are activated to produce sweat, and when that sweat evaporates, that brings in cooling. So there we see that the sweat gland cells are the effectors over here. Same way, if there is a stimulus and we move towards that stimulus by using our muscles, so muscle is going to be the effector over there. And for this neural system to work, there are two main types of cells. And one is, of course, the neurons, which are conducting the messages in the form of nerve impulse, and this is the structural and functional unit of the nervous system. And other than that, there are a number of supporting cells, and these are called glia or glial cells or neuroglia. The number of these glial cells far outnumber the number of nerve cells that we have. And these cells provide structural reinforcement as well as protect, insulate, and assist the neurons. And in these supporting cells, in the animal tissues, we have studied about astrocytes, microglia, oligodendrocytes, the Schwann cells, so on. So coming on to human nervous system, first of all, because if we see the nervous system in various organisms, we'll find in Hydra it is a very simple nerve net, no brain at all. And from where the animals became bilaterally symmetrical, there was evolution of the brain. And among vertebrates, we'll find the most complex brains, and especially, of course, in humans, the complexity has reached to its zenith. So let's start with the human nervous system.